brome, orchard grass, timothy, crescent wheatgrass, those really aggressive non-natives that are amazing erosion control plants. If you want erosion control and you're at a mine site, that's a great one to use. Or other types of reclamation projects. Or if you want pasture grasses, those are great ones to use. They're highly palatable. But that's not what we want on our roadbeds. Because they are highly palatable, it's going to attract cows, other things, wildlife, bears. It's amazing. So you don't want that. And you're never going to get natives to come in. Orchard grass is tenacious, but it's highly palatable. It's a great forage plant. But it's not something you want out in your forest. Now, it's been decades and decades we've been using that stuff for road mixes. And we've decided to go and change that. But what we're transplanting a lot of times is that old road mix, into the roadbed, but there's nothing to do. A lot of this stuff has been naturalized to the site. But we're trying to promote the native species. And things like that will outcompete things like blue bunch wheatgrass, one of my favorite plants out there. And beautiful, beautiful plant. And rather than put sheep fescue out, which is a lot cheaper than Idaho fescue, why not use Idaho fescue? It's readily available. And so that's our strategies. There's a lot of different mixes.
Do you know what yellow vetch, they put a yellow vetch out on the road to Bear Basin bike path?
Oh, they did, huh? Road vetch.
I've noticed that for the last couple of years, it has particularly got very aggressive out there. And it's gone off the roadbed and into the land beside it. And
was that the city?
that's not a Forest Service.
No, it's not
I
Forest.
don't think that's a Forest Service road.
Yeah.
It's a county road.
Yeah, so the county doesn't really have the policies for natives. So they could put, yellow sweet clover out there. Yellow sweet clover is a great reclamation plant. I say reclamation because your objectives are different than restoration. Reclamation would be stabilization, getting vegetation established for erosion control and not necessarily the ecological purity or anything like that. So the county doesn't really have those policies in place. But where they are integrated with the forest and stuff, they've been really good about asking us about seed mix. And we've given them seed mixes before that they went out and bought. Like when the East Fork of the South Fork out the Yellow Pine was damaged and they needed to reseed, they asked us for a mix. We gave them a mix. They went and bought it, and it worked out really well. So a lot of times they do. Sometimes they don't. Depends on who's doing the project and knowledgeable about it.
And I don't even think that's county road, that may be the subdivision road.
Yeah, could be. So private land, put pasture grass out there, I guess,
Yeah.
and do anything else. But there are a lot. If your objective is big and green, you can do that a lot cheaper and quicker and easier by the non-natives.
Yeah. I just noticed this yellow vetch. I'm going to pay it totally one year and it was just.
Oh, yellow vetch.
It was just solid all the way up to the parking lot.
Right.
And then once you got in the parking lot, it wasn't there, except it was coming across the road into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Until it hadn't been planted, it was already moving.
We things like bird's foot trefoil is almost a noxious plant. It's like a noxious weed almost, but we didn't know that at the time. We had it on our mix one time. It was amazing how it just covered everything. It was one of those things that we had to live and learn, but that was a recommended plant not very long ago, and these are things that we try to monitor and figure out that, hey, that's not working for us. That's not meeting our objectives. So our objective with these mixes that I've showed you are to a non-aggressive native, quasi-native mix that's going to allow natives to come in. And these take a long time to establish. That's the other thing that you have to realize is that you don't expect great things after the first year. You're going to have some germination, but these things really don't fully mature till like 3 years later. It's 3 growing seasons, and so you got to be fair about your monitoring and objectiveness there.
It's so interesting too, the species that get into things. You look at a invasive species list, and then, you notice individuals that are mixed in commercial wildflower mixes, and
Yeah,
that happens
Yeah.
again and again.
yeah, it
Right,
does.
and it wasn't too long ago, you could buy, knapweed from
Yeah.
Spring Hills catalog, to plant in your yard is a pretty purple flower.
Well, you can also buy like canary wheatgrass is one that's tenacious plant for
What is it?
banks, canary wheatgrass. And if you go up and down the South Fork of the San River Road, you think of, look at all this beautiful grass, that's everything, that's on the banks now, you know, it's real heavy duty mat, looks really good. It's terrible stuff. It has a real shallow root system. It doesn't hold the bank. It takes over all the natives, and it has taken over all the natives. And it doesn't actually do its job, you know, and it's one big monoculture. So that's never good for diversity. So canary wheatgrass has sometimes been introduced to that system, and it's unfortunate. And it's really a tenacious plant, but greens up fast. So just examples of seed mixes. I just want to point out a few things. That this is my bid. This is how I would send. This is what I would send to a to places like Granite Seed. Wind River Seed in Wyoming is one of my favorite ones. Legacy Seed out of Caldwell. I have to get at least 3 bids for seed, but a lot of times I'll send it to 3 or 4 or 5 places. And it's interesting is that they can't just look this up and give it to you right away. They've got to look up each individual species and look at their rate of pure live seed, you know, per pound, and their purity, and then work up the mix. And if you look what this is, I'm saying that I've got 100 seeds per square foot, PLS per square foot. Now that's way too much seed. What that really is saying is that it's 50 seeds per square foot because it's such a light seed. If I did 50 seeds per square foot, it'd only be like a 20-pound bag. So I want maybe a 40-pound bag at 100 seeds per square foot, and I'll tell someone this is a 2-acre bag. So it becomes a 2-acre bag instead of a 1-acre bag. So that's how I handled this particular one. I'm kind of surprised I actually put this one in here, but this is at 29 pounds per acre of pure live seed. That's what this adds up to be. And so this is a little too high. I've actually toned this down to almost 50 now. But that's almost the mix that we saw out there. Matter of fact, it is almost the exact mix without the wheat. So percent seeds of your mix versus the actual seeds per square foot. And you can just play with these in a spreadsheet. I've got this design so you take this down to 18, this changes, and you can just balance it out really easy. And so you just visualize what plants you want in a combination. It's actually really easy to do this way. So it's all in a spreadsheet. But the key thing you gotta know is this number right here. And a lot of times you can look it up on the internet and it'll give you in general what it is, but it varies per seed lot. So every company is going to have a different seed lot with a little bit different numbers here. But it's fairly relative. Does that make sense to everyone? So anyway, the other things that I want to point out is that make sure they quote pure live seed, and most reputable places are going to know that for sure. But you got to be careful if you're running against some smaller outfit. You never know. Must be a noxious weed for all Western states, but a lot of times they'll say all states. But there are some eastern places seeds that you just won't seed here. But basically, if you're in the West getting a Western seed mix, I mean that's going to be good. It's got to be noxious weed for all Western states out here. And then I say, please package in 1-acre bag. But in truth, this is going to be a 2-acre bag. I knew that, but they don't have to know that. So, and then delivery cost. And then the wheat content. Okay, so if you look at the wheat content of these, you might see what the Kraussel seed mix is. What that means, wheat content? 0.07, right? You see that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's not noxious weeds. That's just wheat content. gonna be in every mix. You just gotta live with it. What you can live with is under 3%. I actually specified under 0.3, 0.03. That's not realistic. Really, it's 3% is realistic. And the seed guide that I handed out will say, you know, that's, you know, you make sure, if anything over 3% wheat, reject it. But really, they can get it down to under 1%. So that's a realistic number. And I probably should change that on the next bid. Inert. So any other questions about what you're seeing here? There's other seed crop, and these are all pretty acceptable. Inert matter, you're going to have some shade involved. You would try to minimize that, but that's why you designed a pure life seed, because of all that non-seed material that's in your bag. So you can make the thing a lot heavier. So reading a seed tag, and there's also in that handout actually shows what a blue tag seed is. You know what certified seed is? So certified seed is something that you would start with. Some of these species could be certified, meaning that they're super pure, you know, absolutely tested, certified. Not all of them can be done that way. So it has to be a certified crop would be highly, you know, it's the really, it's another level of certification and quality. So you can't get every species that way. So you can get one or two species in a mix that way. So yeah, anyway, if you're designing a mix, use that handout. But I do have another recommendation too, is get a hold of these seed catalogs. And I have some extra ones too, if you want some. But these seed catalogs have a lot of information. That will tell you from a government agency what they would be looking out for to make sure things are right. It also talks about seed testing, you know, to make sure you can take a little sample and send it to the idle seed lab. $25, I think, will make sure you get what you get. If you have a big order, that's well worth it. So some places will actually do it for free. So you do a germination test and actually identify each species. It takes a while. But anyway, this will give you, you know, these are great guidelines. And it's fun to look through and try to design something. But if you have a site you need to work on, first thing you need to do is find out what's native, and then try to match that. And then, but for our program, we look for diverse mix like that because we're going around a long linear stretch of road, and we're going to change aspects. We're going to change places in the watershed and elevations. We need something that's diverse enough that's going to, you know, maybe the slender wheatgrass doesn't do so good, but the sandberg wheatgrass will do great. You know, so that's why we have a kind of a shotgun approach to that. So anyway, it's been working with as long as the cost is relatively cheap, we can do that kind of thing. So
very few places jarrow won't grow.
Where's what?
Very few places jarrow won't grow.
I know. So that's a lucky thing. I really wanted to bring a compost brewer here, but we're going to run out of time for that. Brewing compost is fun. Have you guys ever been to the farmer's market here in town and seen the POTS program? Positive Outdoor Teen Service? Okay, so they're youth in town, and they were trying to teach some kind of job skills. They're really too young to get a really, you know, like a part-time job yet, but they're trying to teach them some sort of job skills. So Sylvia Ryan, of Core Services at the time, she got this program started. And it's not for troubled youth or anything else anybody can join, but it's just something that the kids can learn from. And so they did gardening around town, around the state museum, you know, the museum, and we helped them, the Forest Service and myself, helped them brew compost tea. And compost tea was a product you can use to inoculate soils with live microbes and fungi. There's a method for that. We started this a long time ago, actually, in about 2000. We bought this machine here. You see this big old bulky thing? We bought this thing. It's called a microbe brewer, and this was almost a prototype. It's been that long ago. And then they got to develop this, and now we're down to the most efficient, best brew is in a 5-gallon bucket. So you can take a 5-gallon bucket, take a regular aquarium aerator and put a tube down there and have some aeration and put some live compost in it with some food, and you can brew your own compost. Now, they have some really nice, for $100 you can buy a really nice system, all built, with a 5-gallon bucket, and you can do a lot of inoculation with that. So what it is actually propagating soil microbes, beneficial soil microbes and fungi in like a 5-gallon bucket, overnight. You know, basically 24-hour brew time with aeration. So aeration is the key. So aerobic fungi and microbes. You get it in suspended liquid. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. And you can re-inoculate soils with this, or re-inoculate compost that's dried up and kind of dead compost, or organic material. And that's what they were selling at the farmer's market, the POTS program. And they would sell it in a 1-gallon jug, but it'd only be half full, because it's live stuff. It's like selling a can of worms. In a way, it's liquid microbes and fungi. And so you want air, you want airflow. And they would hold it on the side so you get maximum. You treat it really gingerly because, you know, you can damage it. The fungi is very fragile, you know, and so you have to be careful how you handle it. I mean, it's actually a very limited product. It only has a shelf life of what, as soon as it uses up its food supply, it will go aerobic, and it's no good. So you have to keep it, it will go anaerobic. You gotta keep it aerobic. And so as soon as it goes anaerobic, things are dying in the flash batch. But it's very easy to brew, and it's pretty fun to do. And you can re-inoculate, if you want to do some gardening, it is awesome. It's pretty fun. And it's really cheap to do. We've been experimenting with it and actually putting in our hydros here and doing things like that, or actually inoculating. If we have a site that we really want to work on, we'll brew compost, and it's pretty fun. We can buy the compost. It's like a sourdough starter. You want something that you know that's going to be really good. We'll buy a little cubic foot of compost, and you can tell it, and it smells awesome. The best smelling compost you can. It smells real earthy. Has, you know, you've got microbes and live stuff in it, and you can actually put that in solution and propagate it, and then spread it out in a liquid method. That's pretty cool stuff. So anyway, a lot of fun things to do. Add that with a little biosol, and boy, you've got good stuff. Man. So we have 2 machines. This is one that was designed for back of a pickup, and we put wheels on it and pull it behind an ATV. So places that we're doing a road to truck conversion, real handy for getting into tight places and blowing straw very fast. Mulch is important for erosion control and actually organic material for recycling. We don't have enough material, native material to cover. Pretty important tool. We've had that for a long time. And you can get through, it's amazing how fast you can go through a bale of hay through this thing. Not just hay, but straw, but the wood straw too. This one we just acquired. This is a pull behind on a bigger truck. It's got a big diesel motor to it, and that thing will blow a lot of straw and really fast. And a great thing to have, you know, at Stibnite and other places. I was always wanting one of these, and there was one up in the Clearwater that was, this one was free. And I just got it. They weren't using it. I was like, what? I'm gonna fix that. These are the large bales? Yeah, not so light. As a matter of fact, it's all this little bobcat can do to not tip over. Those are 600 pounds each, depending on the water content. And so we have 1,800 pounds per pallet there. And what we do with these, I mean, they're big, massive, but we'll have the Traco, the excavator, actually spread that. So we'll cut the bales, and he'll take it and just basically sprinkle it over an area. He can actually shake it and sprinkle it, depending on how skillful the operator is. And then actually help it spread it. And then we can spread the rest by hand. So that's another technique.
Yes.
So we're going to get into road decommissioning and talk about road closures and how we do this. I'm going to get right, next 45 minutes is going to be a whirlwind, because I'm going to flash you a lot of pictures, if you don't mind. Having a lot of questions, just go ahead and stop me though. Okay, so Hazard Lake, burned area. 2-mile road going into nowhere. There's no access to timber, it is only made for timber access, there's no need for public recreation on this thing.